Well, hello, Father Rob Arsenault, Annunciation of the Lord. It's Wednesday night. It's a little early, about 10 to 8, and it's time for the pastor's chat. So just, you may have noticed I've got a few palm trees with me. Actually, just this is one of half a dozen I got in my room here. But this is all part of the Holy Week adventure that's coming up in just a couple weeks. So that's just the Thursday and Friday before Palm Sunday. So on 2 nights we're going to have schools coming in during the day, and then at night we're going to have some of our own people be able to kind of just go through the whole Holy Land. And Good Friday, Holy Thursday, Easter Sunday, like the whole thing, like the Holy Week adventure. So it's all good stuff. So anyway, these are quite elaborate kind of palm trees, but I came back from my parish mission and I had them in my office. So I thought I'll just keep them right here and we'll just make them part of the backdrop. So there it is. So we are getting ready for that. So that's one of the things you want to look for, especially for younger children. I think in grade school, they kind of really enjoy it. So we've got a number of volunteers, and you go through different kind of settings, and then we've kind of got this all scripted out. So it's all good stuff. It's just a lot of fun, and we have the schools joining us, which is really really good. Both Brother Andre and Darcy McGee are going to come over and check it out. So it's good news. All right, parish mission. Yeah, I was away for a couple of days here. I was away last weekend. I was doing a parish mission in St. Finian's, which is part of kind of the whole unit around Alexandria, which is kind of north, maybe just a little bit northeast of Cornwall. So many of you know Father Jonathan Blake, who's there. He's the pastor there, and they're kind of in this process of kind of working with 4 or 5 different parishes and drawing them all together into well, at least one unit, and then kind of going from there. But it's kind of fun. He's a great guy. I've known him for a while now, and just kind of fun to get out, and you do the weekend homilies, and then Sunday night, Monday night, and Tuesday night, we were just giving talks and hearing confessions and doing holy hours and just all that good stuff. So I really really rather enjoyed it. It was quite a lot of fun. And just good to see the other priests there. Father Louis, an old classmate of mine. Father Kevin, brand new priest, that was all part of that too. So, hearing confessions and working together, I think this is good for us as kind of brothers to get together once in a while and to do that kind of thing. So that's what I was doing. So the themes are kind of like, actually a couple homilies, we talked about this before, just the intentionality of how you build cathedrals. I used that in a homily a little while ago, and then how the liturgical seasons are also very intentional, where you have Ash Wednesday and the first Sunday of Lent and the second Sunday of Lent, and it kind of unfolds. There's a whole kind of teaching that goes with that. Remember who Christ is, who he says he is, and he does the things he says he can do, which is his victory over sin and death. And then we went for another homily I did once on Vatican II and George Wimble's book, To Sanctify the World. I talked a bit about that too. My big word, Christocentric humanism, but that notion of having Christ at the center of who we are. And from there, it happened to be the feast of St. Joseph, which fell on a Monday. It was a day late because we're going to get into this a bit more with our own feast day, but when Sundays of Lent or Easter or Advent take priority over feast days, that's a pretty big solemnity to bump. And so St. Joseph got moved one day forward, so onto the Monday. But I thought St. Joseph, in how he responded to the call to become the foster father of Jesus, so that was a pretty big thing. He had a life planned out for him, a good life. I think, he had a trade, he had a way forward. He was engaged to be married. This is very important to have a family and to be part of family. And all that got set aside and willing to do, that I compared it to Father Bob, actually, in his call. I think it came kind of late in life for Father Bob to go to the bishop and, ask to found this new religious community, the Companions of the Cross. And Bob always felt like he'd be thrown out of the bishop's office. But in fact, the bishop himself had a similar vision and shared that with Bob. And I think it was kind of neat. His motto often was, not ready, but willing. And I think that's what I was trying to impose, to encourage the people to say, we don't have a perfect plan for renewal, but we can still try. And then the last night, I used the theme of the healing of the man who was crippled and couldn't get into the pool. And what cripples us from being on mission? I thought there's a lot of fears or anxieties or lack of kind of confidence that God is capable of using us, because we're kind of broken. And so one place, of course, you do that is to go to confession. But even just, again, building on that confidence that God's able to use us in ways we couldn't imagine. So there you go. That was the mission in a nutshell. So I kind of enjoyed it, I have to admit. As I say, just spending time with Jonathan, Father Jonathan, and the guys, and just getting out a little bit. And I used to do quite a few of those, and I don't do as many as I used to, so it was kind of fun. It's been years since I did a parish mission. So all good stuff. So we're back. So what's going on? Well, busy weekend, because I kind of touched on this. Our feast day now falls on this Saturday. So we kind of were hoping we could maybe move that to the Sunday. That's why I know about these Sunday things. And you really can't. So we're going to celebrate it in a kind of a little bit of a different way, because normally when the Feast of the Annunciation falls midweek, we would have had Mass in the evening. We would have had some kind of a little reception afterwards. It just flows nicely. And in the last 5 years, that's what we've done whenever we could. I mean, the COVID notwithstanding. Well, we're going to celebrate Mass in the morning like we normally do. And then we'll go into the weekend. It'll be the fifth Sunday, I think, fifth or sixth Sunday of Lent. And then have a breakfast. The breakfast will be after the 9 and the 11 on Saturday. So that's kind of the thinking is, okay, we can't maybe officially have the feast day on a Sunday, but that's the best time for the majority of us to get together and kind of celebrate. So just letting you know that there's a breakfast. It's kind of as a goodwill offering. People are welcome to come. We've basically planned for 300, and we'll put it on. And you don't have to necessarily sign up for that. If you're worried about I think the crowd's going to be a bit bigger after the 11, maybe than the 9, but do come and celebrate a little breakfast. I think the Knights of Columbus and the CWL are kind of putting it on together, which is really kind of good for them to do that for us. And we have some volunteers that have also being a part of it. Probably I could use one or two more helpers if you want to jump in. But the bottom line being, we're going to, the Annunciation, well, I think Father Joshua is preaching for the Mass on the Saturday. But then the Sunday morning, we'll have a breakfast. We haven't had a parish breakfast in, well, it's been years. Again, COVID being COVID. So that's going on. And that night, actually, there's another thing too. There's a men's prayer time that we've been running in the diocese here. They've had about 5 of these, I think, 4 or 5. They did the first one here, I think, actually back in the early fall, if I remember. Could even been last spring. It's called Forge. So generally they have a speaker and a little bit of adoration, some praise and worship, and a guest speaker kind of coming in and giving a talk. And that's going to be this Saturday night. They said to us, well, we know that it's a feast day for you guys, but would you be willing to host? Because they thought having Annunciation evening, even though we've kind of moved on to the next day liturgically, they could still come and have a kind of a gathering that night during Lent, and it would be a bit of a special feast for them. So we did agree to that. It was a little tight because of our, we were setting up the next day for the breakfast, but we're going to do that. So gentlemen, if you're listening to this, if you're kind of curious what that's all about, to join us Saturday, I think it starts 7:30, 8 o'clock, and 7, at least by 7 for sure. And it's going to be, again, praise and worship, adoration, some witness talks, and a little fellowship afterwards too, which is always kind of fun to see the guys. Usually get about 60, 70 guys, 75. So it's all good news. So you're most welcome to that. So parish mission just finished. That's good. We have the kind of feast day coming up. We have on Saturday morning. The celebration really will be mostly on Sunday morning. We'll have a parish breakfast in honor of our Blessed Mother, Knights of Columbus, CWL, thank you again. Forged Saturday night, and then Holy Week Adventures coming up next week, and that's what the palm trees are all about. So you put all that together, and it's getting busier. A couple of people to pray for. We have the funeral for Austin Douglas, his funeral is going to be on Monday at 1 o'clock. Austin's just a fine man. He was a longtime member here of the parish, so his funeral will be on the Monday at 1 o'clock. That's be something that Father John and I will both be celebrating for him. And Father John Vandernacker, Father John and Roger Vandernacker, their father passed away. Both and Austin on Monday on the feast of Saint Joseph. So I think Roger's father will be buried from St. Patrick's in Fairfield at on Friday. I think at 11. That's going to be that. I think I'm not even sure I'm going to be able to go to that because of the other funerals, but that's the plan. So keep those people in your prayers. I know there's been a number of people in hospital, and we've had, this is now 4 funerals in just a little over 2 weeks. So it's getting a little busier that way too. But we're getting closer to Easter, closer to springtime. We're officially in spring now. It just doesn't feel like it. We have a freezing rain warning on tonight. But nonetheless, we are getting that one day closer, one step closer. So Lee, thanks for chiming in there. I saw you kind of just said hello earlier on. There's a few of you watching live. If there's any questions, you're welcome to ask them. Otherwise, we will talk to you soon. Take care. God bless you now. All the best. Bye.